our past and also about our future, how our species, Homo sapiens, became the dominant species on the planet, and what's going to happen to us next. But really, in order to understand the future, we first need to have some grasp of the past, and especially of how human beings became the dominant species on the planet. So 100,000 years ago, living in East Africa were not the rulers of the planet. They were an insignificant species of apes living in a small corner of the world with a relatively small impact on the rest of the ecosystem. Back then, in fact, there were at least 6 different types, 6 different species of humans on the planet, like the Neanderthals in Europe, like Homo erectus in East Asia, in China and Korea. And today, in contrast, there is just one human species around, only our species, Homo sapiens, but we are the most powerful force on the planet. So the first question to ask is, how exactly did we reach from there to here? How did we transform ourselves from insignificant apes minding their own business in a corner of Africa into the rulers of planet Earth? Usually, when we ask this question, we tend to look for the answer on the individual level. We want to believe, I want to believe, that there is something special about me. There is something special about my body. There is something special about my brain that makes me such a superior creature in comparison with a chimpanzee, or with a dog, or with a pig. But the truth is that on the individual level, we are embarrassingly similar to chimpanzees and to other animals. And if you place me and a chimpanzee together on some lonely island, and we have to struggle for survival, who survives better? I would definitely place my bets on the chimpanzee, not on myself. The chimpanzee will do better. Because the big advantage of humans over other animals is not on the individual level. It's on the collective level. We control this planet because we are the only animals that can cooperate flexibly in very large numbers. Now, there are, of course, other animals that can cooperate in large numbers. The social insects, the ants, the bees, the termites, they are the obvious example. Ants can cooperate in their hundreds of thousands sometimes, but they lack flexibility. Cooperation among ants and bees is very rigid. There is basically just one way in which a beehive can coordinate its activities, its economic and social and political system. And if there is a new opportunity or a new danger, the bees cannot reinvent their social system overnight. The bees, for example, cannot have a communist revolution, execute the queen bee, and establish a communist dictatorship of worker bees. Now, there are other animals which are much more flexible in the way that they cooperate. These are the social mammals. The wolves, the dolphins, the elephants, the chimpanzees, they cooperate in a far more flexible way than bees or ants. But the problem with them is that they can cooperate only in very small numbers. 50 chimpanzees can cooperate, but 50,000 chimpanzees cannot cooperate. And the reason is that among chimpanzees, cooperation is based on intimate knowledge, one of the other. If I'm a chimpanzee and you're a chimpanzee and I want to cooperate with you, I need to know you personally. What kind of chimpanzee are you? Are you a nice chimpanzee? Are you an evil chimpanzee? Can I trust you? If I don't know you personally, I can't cooperate with you. But humans, Homo sapiens, what makes us really unique that we have found a way to organize very flexible but very large-scale cooperation between not thousands, but millions, today even billions of people cooperate together. And this is our big advantage. 1 versus 1, a chimpanzee is better than me. But 1,000 versus 1,000, humans will easily win, because 1,000 chimpanzees cannot cooperate at all. And all the big achievements of humankind, whether it's building the pyramids, or flying to the moon, or splitting the atom, all these achievements are not the work of some unique individual genius. They are the result of cooperation between millions of people. This is our secret of success as a species. The next question that immediately comes to the mind is, what is our secret? What enables Homo sapiens alone, of all the animals, to cooperate flexibly in very large numbers? How can millions of strangers who never met before, how can they cooperate effectively to build a pyramid or to build a spaceship and go to the moon? And the answer is our imagination. We can cooperate in very large numbers. Even complete strangers can cooperate because we can invent fictional stories and spread them around. And as long as everybody believes the same fiction, the same story, everybody obeys the same laws, the same norms, the same rules, and then strangers can cooperate. This is unique to us. You can never convince a chimpanzee to give you a banana by promising him that after you die, if you give me this banana, after you die, you'll go to chimpanzee heaven. And there you receive lots and lots of bananas for your good deeds here on earth. So now give me this banana. No chimpanzee will ever believe such a story, which is why we control the world and not the chimpanzees. Because these stories are the way that we convince millions of strangers, say, to pay taxes towards a common goal, towards a common project. Now, it's most obvious, of course, like in the example I gave, it's most obvious in the case of religions. You can convince millions of Christians or Muslims to come together and go on crusade or jihad or build a school or build a hospital or build a cathedral, because you convince everybody that if they help this project, after they die, they will go to heaven and receive rewards for their good deeds. And as long as billions of people believe the story, it works. But exactly the same mechanism underlies almost all other kinds of human cooperation. In the political sphere, the most important kind of political system in the modern world is the nation state. But the nation and the state, they are fictional stories, just like hell and heaven. Nations are not a real physical entity which you can see or touch or smell. Nations are a story invented and told by people over many years. No chimpanzee ever saw Israel or France or Korea because it's just impossible. It exists only in our minds. A chimpanzee can see a mountain, he can see forests, he can see a river. These are real. But he can't see nations because they exist only in our imagination. It's the same with our legal systems. Maybe the most important and beneficial story of the legal system, of the modern legal system, is human rights. All over the world, legal and political systems are based on a belief in human rights. But human rights, again, they are just a story in our minds. They are not an objective reality. They are not a biological reality. it's not a biological fact that animals from the Homo sapiens species have rights to life or liberty or property or anything else. If you take a human being and cut him or her open and look inside, what is this animal made of? You will see the heart and blood and kidneys. You will find the DNA, but you will not find rights anywhere inside our bodies or written in our DNA code. Because this is just a story we've invented, not very recently, just over the last few centuries. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. It has been an extremely beneficial story, which helped to alleviate suffering in the world and make the world a better place. But still, we shouldn't confuse our imagination with reality. Human rights are a story, just like the stories about God and heaven and hell. And similarly, in the economic sphere, we think that the economy is the most realistic and rational thing in the world. But actually, if you were to give the Nobel Prize in Literature to the best storytellers in the world, you should give it to the bankers and the finance ministers. Because they have come up with the only story that everybody believes, which is the story of money. Not everybody believes in God, not everybody believes in the nation, not everybody believes in human rights, but everybody believes in money. Again, this is unique to human beings. If you look at money, what it is, like a dollar bill, you cannot eat it, you cannot drink it, you cannot wear it. There is nothing to do with it. It has no objective value. But now come these wonderful storytellers, the bankers and the finance ministers, and they say to us, look, you see this green piece of paper? I'm telling you, this is worth 10 bananas. It's a story. But if everybody believes this story, if I believe it and you believe it and everybody believes it, it works. It really works. I can take this worthless piece of paper, go to a complete stranger in a supermarket whom I've never met before, give him this worthless piece of paper, and get in exchange real bananas that I can actually eat. This is the basis for our economic system. And this is why, again, we control the world and not the chimpanzees. The chimpanzees cannot do it. The chimpanzees, they can trade. I'll give you a coconut, you'll give me a banana. This can work with a chimpanzee, they do it. But you give me a piece of paper, a worthless piece of paper, and you expect me to give you a banana in return. What do you think I am, a human? No chimpanzee will agree to give you a banana for a worthless piece of paper. Only humans do it, which is again why we control the world. Now, it should be, of course, be emphasized that it's not easy to convince everybody to believe in the same stories. You can come up, you can invent all kinds of stories, but how to convince everybody to believe in the same story is very difficult. And most of the wars and revolutions and conflicts in history were really about that. Many people think that humans fight for the same reasons that other animals like chimpanzees or like wolves fight, that we fight over territory or over food. But this is not true. For example, in my home country, in Israel, there's been a very long conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. But it's not about the territory. There is enough land between the Mediterranean and the Jordan River to build houses and schools and hospitals for everybody. And there is enough food to feed everybody. But the problem is in the mind, in the imagination. We haven't been able to come up with a single story that the Israelis and the Palestinians can both believe, can both accept. And they really fight about the different stories in their minds. So, in answer to the first question I raised, humans control the world because we live in a dual reality, in a double reality. All other animals, chimpanzees and elephants and lions and so forth, they live in an objective reality. In their world, there are trees and rivers and mountains and animals. This is their world. Now, we humans, we also live in an objective reality. In our reality also, there are rivers and trees and mountains and chimpanzees and lions and so forth. But over thousands of years, we have constructed, on top of this objective reality, we have constructed a second layer of fictional realities. A reality made of fiction, of illusion, of fantasies. And the amazing thing is that as history unfolded, these fictions about nations and money and corporations and religions and so forth, these fictions became more and more powerful, like the United States, like the World Bank, like Google and Microsoft, entities that exist only in our own imagination, but they now control the world. They are the most powerful agents in the world. So this is how humans came to control the world in the first place. And now I want to look at the present and the future. What's happening right now and what is likely to happen in the coming decades, in the 21st century.